observing live classes, observing teachers in action. So you're now stepping into this new role where you're watching the class unfold, which opens your eyes in this whole new way. You're seeing the students and different bodies and poses, and then you're seeing the teacher and how they're facilitating the experience, how they're handling the different levels of student in the room and keeping students safe. And then after that, moving into assisting classes where you're stepping actively into the class, but you're not quite in that role of leading the class, but you're assisting students and practicing putting your hands on people and paying attention and keeping students safe. And then finally moving into teaching yourself.
You want to find a yoga program as well that offers a holistic approach. So not only are they addressing just the physical journey, which the yoga postures is one aspect of a multifaceted system, are you able to uncover and discover mental and emotional transformation? Are they also going to speak and address towards yoga philosophy and the spiritual roots that yoga entail? So looking for something that's more than just a physical yoga and works on the totality of your experience, mind, body, and spirit.
And then also an emphasis in the program on self-study and personal transformation. This is what yoga is all about. Yoga is about getting to know ourselves better, studying ourselves, studying our habits, our conditioning, our reactions, our beliefs that we carry, how those influence the way that we navigate the process of living. And all of that gives us information about teaching yoga as well. So, as teachers of yoga, we want to make sure that we're continuing that process of studying ourselves, but the studying of ourselves is not always easy, and so we want to, that ties back into the teacher and just making sure that you feel like the teacher that you've chosen, you feel safe around that teacher, you feel like that teacher is going to challenge you, that teacher is going to perhaps put you in moments that feel a little bit uncomfortable, because often it's in that discomfort where we learn so much about ourselves, and that is the process of transformation. And sometimes transformation is challenging. So we want a teacher that's going to nurture us through that process, but also hold us to the fire and help us move through transformation in a way that is effective and really essential as we step into being teachers, and it just continues after that.
It's true. We are looking to transform self-doubt into courage, and a teacher that has walked this path, who has the skills in helping others do that, is really effective in helping you transform your limiting beliefs into faith, into courage, into a belief about yourself, and that's something that's very valuable. I think one thing that's often overlooked as well and is highly valuable is the community support. You want to feel like you're coming into a group of like-minded individuals who are going to support you on your journey. We call this satsang in yoga, coming together and having this level of discussion that's about a higher vibration or raising consciousness. So we want an environment that supports our study of yoga, and so taking the opportunity to come into the yoga studio or yoga school that you're looking at studying and getting a sense, is this a place where people are staying and communicating and becoming community with one another, or is it people are in and out the door and they're not really building those relationships which are so valuable that support us on the journey, because we can't do it all alone. Yoga is this idea of coming together, making whole, making complete, and so part of that is taking the individual and bringing it together into community. So we want the community to build and support our foundation for our journey. It's really, really important to have those community relationships and that they're fostered in your teacher training program.
And I think those relationships are fostered, by the teacher, the relationship you have with the teacher, but also so much so by your fellow trainees, the others that are going through the training process with you. Those are people that become lifelong friends. Those are people that you'll maintain contact with for years to come, because that experience is so transformative, and that transformation is exponential when you're going through it with a group of other people that are supporting you and helping you and they become like your family. So there's your teacher training, immediate teacher training satsang, and then the overall community of the studio. You know, does the studio support, you know, the other members of the community at the studio support teacher trainees? In what ways do they do that? Do you see that? You might ask about that.
And I think above all, your teacher training program should give you the practical experience in becoming a teacher and learning how to teach others yoga. This is something that unfortunately is really lacking in many teacher training programs. And not all teacher training programs are made equal. And it's not to say that one is better or worse than the other. They might deliver something that's just quite different. But the practical experience of learning how to teach others is so the key aspect of a teacher training to become a teacher. So you want to have those opportunities to perhaps lead a class on your own. You want to get the opportunity to practically teach to your fellow trainees in the room. You want to learn how to deliver the information, not only about the yoga poses themselves. It's more than teaching poses, it's teaching people, and it's teaching yoga. So it's about allowing others to do what you're doing, which is uncovering within themselves the light, the inner truth. And so this is what's going to give you the confidence to go out and teach yoga in your community. Getting the critical and practical feedback from the teachers, that's really, really valuable too, so that you can see your blind spots and see where maybe you're missing just a little bit in your delivery. These things are really the nuts and bolts and the heart of what your teacher training program should entail.
And we've often found in our years of facilitating teacher training that, you know, that's challenging to teacher trainees to be put on the spot, to, you know, again, it's kind of holding you to the fire of asking you to teach to your fellow TTs, practice teaching what you just learned. But what better environment to do that in than in the learning environment where the others that are there with you are in the same boat as you. They're learning something new for the first time. Your teacher is holding you with a lot of care and compassion, and at the same time is giving you those pieces of critical feedback that, while might be difficult in the moment, are ultimately going to give you the confidence to step forward once you're done with the training and move out into the world and apply what you've just learned. If you haven't had any practice doing that in your training, most people that I've talked to where they haven't had that practice, they feel frozen once they get out of the training because they don't feel like they have the skills actually to facilitate a class. And so just having that experience and having an experience of teaching a whole class, to a live class, not just to your fellow TTs, but to people just coming in to the studio, is valuable because it just gives you a different group of people to teach. You get that feel for teaching to a lot of different bodies. And it's so hard and so challenging, but ultimately when you leave that, you feel more confident.
So we'll touch upon a couple attitudes here that will help you if you are going to participate in a teacher training program, how you can navigate that experience and get the most out of the experience. And I think number one is, you know, a blind devotion to the teacher. No, I'm just kidding. But having an open mind. So, you know, having that beginner's mindset, not going into it as if I already know. Even if you've been practicing yoga for many years, even if you've read, you know, hundreds or thousands of yoga books, is having that beginner's mindset so that you're willing to be a student. Your cup, as they say, is not full, where if any more information is poured in, it just overflows, but it's empty so that it can be filled. So allowing yourself to be open to the teachings. We've had many students who've come in and they have experience with another style of yoga, and they're constantly asking us, well, in this style of yoga, this, in this style of yoga, this, and we love to say to them, and this.
Yes, and.
Yes, and.
You want the program has a yes and mentality, which is that, you know, yoga has become so vast. There are so many different styles of yoga, so many different philosophies around sequencing yoga classes, so many schools. And so it's not to say that, you know, that the school you choose doesn't have a dogmatic approach, that their approach is the right way and the only way, but that, they feel confident in their way of presenting the teaching from experience, but they have that yes and attitude. Like, this is a way, but not the way. This is a way and why we found that this way works, that there's some experience that backs the way of doing things, and an open-mindedness, not just on your end as the student, but on the teacher's end, that they understand that, their way is not the only way to do things.
Yeah.
And then a willingness to move through challenge. If you've done any kind of yoga practice before entering your teacher training, which hopefully you have, you know that the practices have a way of challenging us physically, pushing our limits physically sometimes, stirring the pot. So, it stirs up stuff. It stirs up an awakening to, again, our habits and what's working in our lives and what's not working in our lives, the things that we want to shed. Really just to access what's already there, to access the light and the brilliance that's already there inside of each of us. And that requires a willingness to move through those challenging moments, and to understand that, when you enroll in a teacher training program, this is hopefully, the program that you choose is really like university level curriculum, and the expectations are really up at that standard. And so it's understanding that it's going to require study on your part, and carving out time in your life to apply yourself to what you're doing in order to get the most out of it.
Yeah, it's a really good point. You don't want to enroll in a program that is putting you, setting the standard low at like a high school level. You want to feel like you're getting a higher education in the school of yoga, in the study of yoga practice.
And really that it's just the beginning, that what you're learning at the 200-hour level is just the beginning, because there's so much more. There's above that, there's 500-hour level training, but also just that it's opening this door to wanting to understand more, wanting to learn more, that it's awakening that lifelong student within you.
Yeah. And finally, one other attitude or approach to your journey is having that desire to understand who you truly are. It's not the thoughts that flow through your mind constantly. It's not who you've been told who you are from being a young child, from your family. It's not who you are in your career or professional path necessarily. It's understanding that you are a vast and dynamic individual that is light, that is radiant, that is consciousness, and you are bringing that up to the highest level of understanding about yourself. So, as I mentioned earlier about setting aside or transforming your limiting beliefs into this understanding that you are omnipotent, you're vast, you're full of radiance and light, and so allow yourself to be willing to explore the full spectrum of who you are.
And that all of us have the capacity to embody excellence in the sense of that word of living in alignment with our highest self, with our truest self, that aspect of ourself that is more joyous, more present, more honest and loving and kind. And so it's just awakening to that reality that is already within us, and from that awakening and that continual awakening, it doesn't stop once we become a yoga teacher, that from there we offer that light to others and help them to wake up to that same excellence that is within them. That's really what yoga teaching is all about.
Yoga is this process of allowing ego to dissolve and the union of the divine from the universe and the divine from within to unite, to yoke together, so that you become your most whole, complete, joyous, happiest self, and you can shine that light out into the world to help others find that within themselves.
So we hope that this information has been useful for you. If you have any questions for us personally, you can visit our website, which is breathenorfolk.com, and we have information up on our website about our 200-hour program, as well as our 300-hour program, which is a bridge to becoming a 500-hour certified teacher. Both of those programs are Yoga Alliance certified programs, which is kind of the standard right now in yoga as to what you're looking for in a teacher training program. So check out that information. We hope that your journey toward finding a teacher training that's right for you is joyous, and that when you find that program, it brings you exactly what you are looking for.
Yes. Choose wisely. Let us know if you have any questions. You can email us at info@breednorfolk.com. We look forward to helping you in any way that we possibly can in finding your truest self and perhaps exploring teacher training. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.